3 days ago, if you were to tell me that the hardest game I would play in 2024 would look like a Flash game from the early 2000s and feature bunny girls, I would look you in the eyes and just straight up believe you, if I'm being honest. I'm kind of gullible. Rabbit in Steel is one of the most heart-pounding, fast-paced, and outright difficult games I have ever played in my entire life. In fact, this game is so hard that at the point of recording this video, only 2.5% of players were able to beat it on hard mode. And that's not even the hardest mode. But though it's immensely challenging and occasionally tilting, it's such a fun and chaotic experience that I managed to clock in 20 hours of gameplay in only 2 days. No, I do not have a problem. Yes, I want to keep playing. So even though Rabbit in Steel may look like this, let me explain why it feels like learning a choreographed dance routine while having a cannon pointed at your face. The game is structured to be possibly the first ever MMO raid-like. Every level, you and your party are put up against a boss with its own unique combination of mechanics, which can range from laser beams spawning, tethering to the boss or each other, making you stand in certain spots or forcing you to spread apart. Obviously, there's way more mechanics than the ones that I just named, but the funny joke is that a lot of them happen at the same time, which makes the game even more nerve-wracking because yeah, you have to dodge bullets, but you also have to painstakingly scan the entire screen so that you don't dodge a bullet and step on a landmine instead. Because if you make one misstep, you lose some of your very valuable health. And in multiplayer mode, standing in the wrong spot can hurt all of you. So every single player has their own unique puzzle to solve at the same time. It's kind of like building a house with your close friends, except if you put a cinder block in the wrong spot, the C4 strapped to your mom's chest will explode. Now let's reel in the mechanics and difficulty speak for a second so that I can talk about one of my favorite aspects of this game, the characters and the builds. Because though this game looks shallow and relatively unserious, the complexities behind each intentional design choice changes how you play, not only per character, but also per run. This game features a roster of 10 total characters, 5 that you start with, and 5 more that you unlock by clearing zones on hard mode, or if you're not a hardcore gamer, you can unlock them by just playing the game as well, which is a pretty nice touch. Each character has their own unique set of 4 abilities, which are defined as your primary, your secondary, your special, and your defensive. It sounds a little complicated, so let me explain 2 of the characters right now. This warrior has a giant AoE slash around their body as their primary attack, the ability to throw their sword to charge up their other attacks as a secondary, a dash strike that gives temporary invulnerability as a special, and a dodge which creates a safe zone for a few seconds as a defensive. Knowing this, when getting to choose out of the available loot offered to you per run, you'll probably be looking for items that scale the size and damage of their primary attack, while also trying to get some items that give you move speed so that you're always in range to deal a lot of damage. The druid, on the other hand, has a very weak primary attack, a secondary which only deals damage in a certain area. This ability is somewhat unreliable because a lot of the bosses dash around, and a special which summons a butterfly that can deal good DPS no matter where it is. Knowing this, for the druid, your itemization is probably going to be about cooldown reduction and increasing the damage of your special so that you can summon more butterflies to deal consistent DPS while you're just trying to stay in one piece. These builds get significantly deeper when you reach a shop and are able to evolve your base abilities to change their properties altogether. Remember that druid ability which kinda sucked because it only dealt damage in a certain area? Well, now you can evolve it to deal damage no matter where it's at. And these ability upgrades can give them new effects, make them hit more, or even change their properties altogether. I waited a while to say this word because I know it scares a lot of people off, but yes, this game is a roguelike, meaning that every single run you'll be offered different items randomly, keeping the experience fresh and exciting. Since this game is meant to feel like an MMO, they also kept this really funny MMO mechanic. When you reach a loot box, the entire team can take their choice out of the available set. Because of this, it's important to create teams that can look for different items in order to ensure that you're not bare knuckle boxing for the item you both need. However, if you absolutely need an item that another one of your teammates also needs, you can both roll for it, and the one who rolls the higher number takes the item. This adds a little bit of spiciness to the gacha randomness, and sometimes me and my teammates will rob each other at the cost of the run just to be jerks.
You know what? I'm rolling with you.
You know what? I'm gonna roll too. The loot in this game is very interesting, albeit varied in how it can affect your gameplay. Some of these are boring stinkers like apply poison every 10 seconds, while others are insane cool math brainbusters like the damage of your secondary becomes the sum of all your cooldowns times 10 divided by the amount of times your ability hits. My goodness. This allows the game to be casual enough to pick up in play, but also complicated enough to want to read the items and find optimizations that will increase your chances of winning or just surviving altogether. Though there aren't really any healers in this game, multiple characters can apply buffs that get the team out of a bad situation when used correctly. The defender can break bullets, while the druid can grant everyone move speed to avoid tighter areas. The assassin can go invisible, which does not apply to others, but it does allow him to walk into dangerous areas to give his team breathing room if they ever position incorrectly. Now, I want to talk about the best part of this video game. The reason why you probably clicked on this video in the first place. Besides my face, of course. This game is very hard. There are currently 4 different difficulty settings. Number 1 is cute mode, which I've never played before because I'm from the streets. Number 2 is normal mode, which offers a very solid challenge for your first few days of attempts. This also allows you to learn basic mechanics that the bosses throw at you in a way that's reliable and pretty hard to master. Most of my runs on the first day were on normal mode. Every run I felt like I was learning more and more, and we even got to the end thanks to Yako carrying us even though we kept dying. Hard mode is where seasoned veterans can dive in and get to the meat and potatoes of this game. At the point of recording this video, like I said before, only 2.5% of players were able to clear this game on hard mode. The difficulty spike here is actually pretty massive because now all of the mechanics that you practiced before are layering on top of each other, making them tighter and harder to read and react to. Instead of dodging lasers, bullets, or explosions, now you're dodging lasers, bullets, and explosions. It's pretty overwhelming, and even now with a decent amount of hard mode wins under my belt, I still manage to mess up and take damage here and there. But most of the time, it's from something that was avoidable if I had just focused on the right things. Remember how I said that we were able to win our first normal mode run because my friend Yako was able to carry us to the end? Well, hard mode introduces an enrage mechanic, which means that if all of you don't do enough damage fast enough, the boss will enrage and deal damage to you until you die, making sure that in 4-player mode, it's almost impossible to be carried. And finally, there is lunar mode. And this mode is in fact so difficult that the world's first 4-person clear was only accomplished a few days ago. And judging by the fact that this game has already sold 100,000 copies, that means that only 0.004% of players were able to get a 4-person clear on lunar mode. Since I know a lot of people are going to watch the video and say, lunar doesn't sound that hard, maybe Scooch is just exaggerating. I think it'd be really funny if I try a solo lunar run very quick, just so you guys can see what we're dealing with. Okay, moving, get in the circle. Okay, what was that? Hold on. She's going over here, and I have to be in the circle? Okay, my goodness. All right. That's not that bad. That's not that bad. Lunar is easy. Oh, okay, we're good. We're still cooking. All right, I have one more hit because in Lunar you also have a lower health. So that's just a little fun mechanic that they throw in there as well. Okay. All right, let's see. Mama's already dead. Okay, yeah, that's a tutorial boss, by the way. I'm gonna try one more time. Okay, I have to be on the other side of this because there's a tether on me. Okay, I got away from it there. That's about to go off. So now I walk away. Okay, got it. That wasn't so bad. All right, I'm starting to understand. I'm starting to cook here. But I gotta be on the other side. Okay, this one's dead. That's good. That goes away. Stretch the tether. We're good. All right, we're fine. Now that there's only one of them, it should technically be super crazy easy mode. I think. Oh, she's about to enrage this boss? I thought only the main boss is enraged. What the hell? Okay, all right. It's what was that? What was that? Expanding twice and going downwards. Got it. Okay. Okay, now I'm shooting up here. Expanding twice and going upwards. Got it. Expanding twice and going up again. God damn it. I should have used my special. I should have used my dodge. I mean, it's going this way. And it's expanding. Scooch, come on. Wake on up, buddy. Wake on up now. All right, I'm popping off. She's about to die. Or I am. That's the fun of it. Oh, it's definitely going to be me because she enraged. Okay, yeah, these are tutorial bosses, by the way. Final go here. I'll play the sniper. She's safe from a decent range. She has an attack that's from far away. If I can't beat the first section with her, then we're cooked, dude. Let's see. All right, this one I know. I already practiced it once. She's going the other way. I think I figured her out. She was about to enrage, Jesus. Expanding outwards and going here. Easy, dude. Oh, God, that was a close one. That was a very close one. Oh, my God. All right. Do your little expanding. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to just dodge that, and I'm going to just try to kill her because I think she's about to enrage soon, and that's going to be bad if she does. Okay, here it is. Okay, she's enraging. I got her. Okay, these two are easy. We actually just beat these two. Cool. Easy. Okay, got it. Barely there. Barely. I might have to use my dash, and I got hit, but I didn't get murdered, so that's good. Ooh, I got one of them. All right, so now we're just doing the easy part. Cool. I did it. Wow, we got out of the tutorial. That's sick. Oh, dear God. Uh-oh. Okay, all right, I talked too soon. Now, some people may be turned away from the fact that this game is for players and kind of built around it, but the way that this game manages difficulty is something that is pretty interesting and rewarding no matter how many people you play it with. In single player, the game is outright just a bullet hell. Knowing that there's only one of you, the boss mechanics are adjusted to make it as brutal as possible for a single person. In two-player mode, the game is probably at its simplest, adding just enough mechanics for both of you to react to and work together on, but still leaving it open enough for about 2mm of error. And in 3 and 4 player modes, the game simplifies some mechanics while emphasizing others like spread markers or cleaves attached to a single ally. Basically, no matter how many players you come into this game with, you're probably going to get your butt blasted clean off. A very minor aspect to this game that I can't appreciate enough of and is kind of an unsung hero about the overall experience is the amount of downtime between each run. Failing this game sometimes stinks, but you're back up and running within a few seconds to give it another go.
I'm gonna die.
Okay, Dylan, I need you to
Oh, no.
You're also granted not one, but 2 treasure chests in the first basic area of the game, so the excitement to build and get a god run is there almost instantly. It's so addicting that I often find myself playing exhaustedly at 3 a.m. with other people who are very clearly too exhausted to play well, but none of us are calling it a night because another run is just a few seconds around the corner. Certain characters can be unlocked by clearing a section on hard mode, but knowing that some players aren't diehards or that some people would struggle a lot to accomplish the task, you can also unlock the characters by playing the game, making sure that no gameplay content is locked behind extremely difficult tasks. It's weird to say that a game's value is so closely tied to how difficult it is, but I cannot stress enough how exciting it is to finally beat a boss without taking damage because you and your friend's brains all folded at the same time. One of the only issues I have with this game is that on the harder difficulties, it does get a little challenging to even see what's going on. I'd say that I'm pretty good at this game, having already beaten it with half the roster of available characters, but even now, after about 30 hours of gameplay, I still sometimes have moments where I get clipped by a tiny mechanic that blends in with the absolute war zone that's on my screen. I understand that this can completely be a matter of get good, and as someone who's never actually raided in an MMO, maybe it's just that I don't have the eyes for it yet, but sometimes you're getting attacked by 6 things at once, and they're all the same color and also layered on top of each other, and it just makes me wish that the visuals lent themselves to being a little bit easier to ingest. To give you an example of what I mean, I'm going to break down 2 different sections in this game. I'm going to break down one of the harder areas, Red Dark House, and then I'm going to break down my favorite area, Emerald Lakeside. Red Dark House is a very funny zone. Allow me to explain myself. After defeating some mini-bosses on your way to the final boss, you end up fighting Karsi the Ruby Dragon, which has a very fun mechanic where you're forced to rotate around in a circle avoiding lasers as you go. Now, this may already sound annoying enough, because it is, but then she starts throwing out other mechanics to show you how easy it is to shoot fish in a barrel. Like, this mechanic means that you have to be in the same line horizontally, while also avoiding the laser. This mechanic means that you have to be in separate quadrants or you'll get hurt by the spread marker, and this mechanic means you'll have to find the exact spot in the circle you could stand on without being bursted by the on screen. Then you start swapping up the order and rotating the lasers before the bullets go off, so you gotta mathematically within the split second of gameplay realize how to stay in the same line vertically while the lasers are also rotating, and you also have spread markers, so you can't cheese it by being too close. I've died here a lot. This boss is so difficult that whenever I see that we're in Red Dark House, my fight or flight senses kick in. But to top it all off, the funny joke that I was gonna tell you is that this isn't even the hardest boss in the zone, because after that, you fight Ranali, the Mithril Dragon, and she is a real piece of shit. She's tanky, and her layered attacks are significantly more complicated than most mechanics. These boxes shoot beams vertically and horizontally, so you have to find a space between them all in order to not take damage. These expanders spread as many times as is stated by the number, and worst of all, these beams will rotate in a single direction really fast, so you have to find the space between the boxes away from the expanders and also not be in the path of the rotating beam. And you also have a spread marker, so don't go by your friends. LOL. And sometimes you get shoved in a direction, just to spice it up. It may not seem too bad at first, but operating your brain at 2000% efficiency while dodging your allies and also having to detect which beam is rotating clockwise and counterclockwise so you could pinpoint the exact spot on the screen that they don't intersect is a monumental ask. If this is eligible to you, then you must be a god gamer or just have a ton of MMO experience. But personally, I feel like a lot of this could be made a little bit clearer. To explain what I mean, I'm now going to break down my favorite section of the game, Emerald Lakeside. This zone revolves around shapes and standing in the exact right spot. Think about it as like Deadly Osu, I guess. But the thing this stage does really well is the indicators themselves. You're never confused as to what's happening on screen because every shape itself is not only different, but varied in color as well. It's obviously a little easier than Red Dark House 2 because that section was made as a torture device, but in Emerald Lakeside, I see so many things on screen and can immediately understand thanks to the variation in color and graphics. The only thing I would change is for them to make Red Dark House easier to understand like Emerald Lakeside is. Rabbit and Steel has completely swept me off my feet and blown my ass apart. The game is so worth playing if you're into MMOs, co-op games, roguelikes, challenges, or bunny girls, and since that's basically all of the food groups, that means that 99.9% of you would enjoy playing this game, even though you'll probably die about 1,000,000 times. The dev has already said that they want to do a major patch with even more content, and I'm genuinely so excited for the future of this game. In a perfect world, I'd love to see if there were a way for players to make their own raids, because that would already make this infinitely replayable game even more replayable. I hope that this game joins your rotation of games to play with your friends because honestly, it's such a good time. And I think that that's all I gotta say about it. I do have one question before I go though. I'm a huge fan of co-op games and I was wondering if you guys have any recommendations for very challenging co-op games to play. I think playing something very difficult with a group of friends is a unique kind of pain, and I'm always looking for more challenging titles that I could play with my friends and scream about. I'm gonna go make an incantation circle so that I can pray to never see Red Dark House again. Here's a playlist that I'm sure you'd like if you enjoyed this video because they're in the same style, and here's a video that I think you would like as well. So please click on either of those or I will get very sad. I mean it. It'll break my heart.